Where's my camera? Hey. Am I not focused? It's focused. So what's up? What's up, y'all? What's up? Let me share my screen. So today, we're gonna work on some more of this CMS website I've been building for our old content. I just wanted to show you that I upgraded my, updated my coding projects on my portfolio site. We added the site we're working on right now. You can view the website, the source, also watch the playback on YouTube. I created a playlist for it with that first episode from last stream. So that's up there. The source is actually pointing to my old repo. I need to update that. And this is the website that we're currently working on. I did some changes off stream. So I actually implemented the showcase embed. I went looking for a way to get it working with like hitting their API and getting more info about it, so I could try to break down the info like to each individual video, but they don't have an open API for just getting a showcase's information. You have to be authenticated as the user who owns that showcase. And currently I am the owner of all the ones I'm gonna post in here, but there could be a case where I'm not. And what didn't really give me any extra information, but I basically found the embed code and copied that and put it in here. So now you can see this is the full video. It's got the intro. This is all of the parts in order, so you can play them all from here, which is cool. I think I'm gonna end up uploading the videos individually as well. So then I can have, like when you're looking for a specific skateboarder, you can find their specific part. Otherwise in here, it mentions that they're in it, but it doesn't necessarily, take you to the part directly. So there's also more credits per specific parts. Like for example, this guy edited his own part. So I want to give him credit for editing his own part, which is all listed in the credits. The video has the actual information there. So I can pull all that out. There's some specific credits for specific videos. So I still want to do that. That's more of a content thing. But for now, at least I've got the players showing up. That means all the videos have players. These are all pulling from Vimeo for now anyway. I will have to work out the YouTube one later on, but I don't have any videos on YouTube. So that's something I'll have to do. I can customize this player too. I am a pro user on Vimeo. And the other thing about this showcase is you can't get this embed, I think, unless you're a pro user. I don't believe it works. I tried it with somebody else's showcase who I don't think is a pro user, and it said there were no videos in it yet, even though there were videos in it. So either they have like embed rules where it won't work on other sites, or they just aren't a pro account and this is a pro only feature. I'm not quite sure. I think that's why I signed up for it. I wanted to customize the viewer, but I don't know, how much I'm gonna do that. I'll try to keep their experience basically, but you can still link out to the showcase URL as well. Another thing I did was I changed the length to runtime, because that's what it is. Length is kind of confusing. And so that lists that fields, and I published all the changes up there. So there's some more stuff that I want to work on today. Let's look at that. So we want to finish off the create source widget. I started it, and let me show you kind of where it's at right now. Manager. Yo, Teacher Asen, what's up? Missed you last time, man. So we finished off this source widget right here where you have the video type, or the media type, which is video, it's the only option, and the different type that you have, and then the Vimeo ID and the runtime. I want to update this so we have, this is actually called like Vimeo link on the front end. Oops. Is it not running locally? Let me run it locally to show you. Yeah, the last one was pretty late, I think. Yarn dev. But you might be interested in looking at that last video. Ah, my light went out. Let me plug it in. I've actually, oh, hey. Goes. I've actually got a plug. The plug's sitting right next to it. I just unplugged it at one point. I forgot to plug it back in. So yeah, I'm working on this kind of content management site. Did I start it? I'll give you a little overview of it, but there's a pretty in-depth one in that last video. But basically, this is my old skateboard crew website. We had a lot of our photos and videos and stuff up here, but it's been down for a while. I have all the content, and now I'm trying to rebuild it as like the archive site, where it's just, we're not posting new content necessarily, but I'm gonna repost all the old stuff and have like, kind of like a database of all the information, right? And so each thing will have the media associated with it. I worked on embedding these players, and then just like title, description, and the credits were kind of a custom thing that I did. So I'm using Netlify CMS, which is a weird kind of CMS solution. Not the greatest, but for your personal site, I think this is a good option. The main thing that I like about it is it stores everything in flat JSON files. That's what we're seeing back here. This is the Netlify CMS. It just gives you this interface that you can customize to add in content, basically. And it's pretty easy to make your own content. I wanted it because I wanted the JSON files, and to build this, yes, I am a skater, yeah. Build this custom widgets. So like credits, you can pick, you know, a title and then pick what they're doing. And then as you add more, it will add more. A type builder, I assume you mean like a custom one. So these are custom ones that I coded, the credits and the source. We made the source one in the last one too. Let me go back and show you kind of like from a new, you would pick like director is Chad and skateboarder is Frank. And skateboarder is Danny. And then I would choose the media type. I'll say it's going to be a video. It's going to be a Vimeo video. And then I just paste the ID in there, whatever that ID is. And then the runtime, if I want to put that, like how long it's going. But this is a custom one too, the source one. This is what we built last time. And yeah, so I'm working on this some more. I'm trying to fill out the content, or get the admin interface ready so I can fill out the content fully. But this has been a good solution for what I would consider like a personal portfolio site. The way it kind of works under the hood is I go a lot into the pre-build and everything, but it stores everything into, is this the right one? No, this is ChedDev. Is this even the right project? It stores everything in public in the data folder just as JSON files. So what you saw me entering in there is basically the same stuff right here. It's just JSON data. And that's why I picked it, because it saves out that data in hard files. I want to be able to have this data, so if I redesign it in the future, I can always use this data to drive it. I've redesigned and rebuilt this website. I counted back like 5 times, pretty much. And over that time, I've had it in different situations, like GeoCities. Do you know what GeoCities is, D. Drazen? That's way before your time, but that was like how I started building websites. It's like a Wix builder or a GoDaddy builder, like the visual building tool for you. And then I converted it to HTML, CSS on my own. I rewrote it, redesigned it, and then I converted it to PHP, started adding PHP features like a gallery and polls and news updates. And then I converted it to another PHP project. Well, that previous one had like a database and stuff, right? So then I ventured into a database there. Before it was static HTML and CSS, whatever. And then I built a PHP shell that would go to Tumblr and request all the data from Tumblr. So I used Tumblr as a backend, hitting their API. And then this is the fifth one, where now we are still kind of using external sources like Vimeo and YouTube and stuff. I'm storing the URLs, and then I'm saving that data locally to be able to have this. Eventually, I would like to be able to download all that content to have a true archive of it, but this is like kind of an archive of where it is. But yeah, so different post types like blog and video and stuff, you do build those in here. You have this config file, and they call them collections. So each one of these is a collection. This is the credit collection. I give it the name, I tell it a folder where I want to store it. You can also store things as like Markdown or YAML or other kind of formats as well. I'm using JSON just because I like JSON, it's very portable. And you tell it which fields you want in there, and it generates the fields. It's got like all the basic fields in there. So those are called widgets. And it's Netlify CMS, not to be confused with just Netlify, but Netlify CMS. And the widgets are like the common, field types that you would have. They don't get too fancy, but they give you the ability to build custom ones, which is what I started doing because I wanted to really customize how I'm inputting the data, since I'm going to be the one inputting it, and it's very tailored to my website. So that's what these top two ones are, and the customizations are built in basically just React. So you have like the credits control. The control is, VS Code's freezing. The control is the input form stuff, and then the preview is when they render out the preview for you. I'm not really using that right now. Keep waiting. I can't imagine you're hanging too long. All I did was open a file, VS Code, come on. But also, yes, so whenever I add a new item in the admin here and I hit publish, what it does is it actually commits it to my GitHub repo, the new JSON file, and then that triggers a rebuild in Netlify, which rebuilds the whole site and deploys it. So it's hosted on Netlify, and it's all part of this, the kind of the CMS, not necessarily the CMS package. That feature is Netlify to begin with, but the Netlify CMS ties into that feature basically by redeploying for you each time there's a change. So it is a little slow, like when I publish, because it literally makes a commit in my GitHub, rebuilds the whole site, and then sends it out. So it might take like a minute or two to launch again, even though this site's not that big. It's just me managing the admin for now, and it's nice and simple. And I also like that if I really wanted to, I could just create a JSON file in here and not even use the admin interface, and then it will also show up in there. So it's kind of a neat little solution, but I mentioned before that if you're working on a bigger site with a bunch of collaborators, bunch of users, etc., people posting a lot, then it's not really that great. But it could handle like a personal blog and those kinds of things, and it's even kind of hard to update and understand a little bit. I've had to go into their Slack for help a couple times on things because the documentation leaves you at a certain point. But I want to look at Strappy for another project later on, so we'll get there someday. I promise you. I'll let you know before it happens though, so you don't miss it. Mr. Demon Wolf, hey, how's it going? Drop. For daily posting, well, that's what, so I started building that markdown content in that hot tub. The The water, I'm kind of picturing it's cool right now. It's starting to get a little warmer here, so I'm thinking of a nice cool pool. But yeah, they should put some bubbles in there and make it a hot tub. That would be pretty funny. I'm considering Strappy for my other project, which is the Markdown Content API. I started building it from scratch myself, but I might use it for that, or I might just I'd like to set up a generic API that I can just host data on for my personal projects and use one auth system and just use all the projects are hosted like in this thing. Because most of my projects are personal just for me and I need some kind of data hosting and I hate spinning up a new database for each one, so I'd like to do that. Yeah, and WordPress is still, you know, a huge player. I think, Teacher Jason, that's what you use or what you're familiar with, I'm guessing. I'm not a big WordPress user. Yeah, use a new database for each one. The main reason was because I didn't want to leak something and then someone goes and wipes the whole database for all my projects, you know? So that is one reason why I've been kind of safe. So if I can set up one auth thing and then just use that all the time. Yeah. I haven't found an interface that I've liked a lot too, you know, to have, oh, you using that. So you are using WordPress, Demon Wolf, to do that right now. I don't personally love the WordPress interface. So I like Strappy because I can build custom things very easily anytime. I mean, I haven't tried Gutenberg. Is that the new thing? I don't know if they let you do custom data structures and stuff, but it's been a while since I've used WordPress. I haven't even used it since they've had the REST API capabilities, so maybe it's better now. But I don't like how many updates WordPress has too. Yeah, so Demon Wolf, that's what I'm thinking about setting up. Something like that, but instead of WordPress, probably Strappy, because I'm usually the one building it. And it's not always a content site either. Like sometimes it's just basic data and stuff. So, I mean, it would be good to set up on WordPress and build a custom front end for each one, you know? So I can get familiar with WordPress, but I've been avoiding WordPress for a long time. So I either have to dive in or try something else too. But Strappy seems cool, I like it as well. I don't like dealing with server-side stuff. I prefer to just stick in the front end. I mean, I know how to do all the server-side stuff to a basic level, like hosting and all that, right? I don't know how to like build out a whole Docker setup and stuff because I hate it. But, so I try to keep it simple. Yeah, it's a big move. Is there any reason? You don't need to move, right, Demon Wolf? You're just thinking about it as kind of like a play thing. Let's move on to our task. So the create source widget, we need to finish it off. What I was also saying was that I want to add little hints here because I want this label, which is on the front end, in here. And I want it to say Vimeo ID, and then I link to the video. I want it to say like Vimeo link. And then on the back end, I want it to just say like enter an ID. I want it to be the Vimeo ID here because I only store the ID. I don't actually store the full URL. So I want to update that. That's what we're gonna, I think that's the last thing on there. I mean, there's some bugs in here for sure, I know that. But I'm happy with it enough for now. So then we'll move on to the add like a show in timeline feature or field to this, which is just a basic field. And that means to show it on this page. Right now, I'm showing anything that has a date, but there might be something with a date that I don't want to show in here. Like if I do end up adding all of the individual videos from this video, they would be duplicates, and I don't want them to all be in here. So, but I still want to keep the date on them. And try rebuilding your site in Tailwind CSS for fun. Yeah, I used Tailwind recently on CodePal, and I liked it a lot. It was super easy to get set into Next. I did it on one project where I didn't have a lot of styling, but I followed the guide to get it set up, and it was super. Of course, Robin agrees. Hey, Robin. Is Robin paying you to say that? Oh no, wait, it's headless UI, sorry. I always get those confused. Sorry, Robin. A CMS, are you talking about a CMS with Tailwind or with what? I know Robin will say Tailwind UI is worth it. I don't, how much is it? I've never looked into it. I like building things with CSS and HTML and stuff, so I wouldn't mind building my own. But Tailwind UI is super polished. I've seen a lot of great reviews on it. Oh, headless UI. I haven't used it, but Robin there, is the creator or is it maintainer, Robin? He went ahead and built this. So no, I haven't used it. Or did you build a site? I don't totally remember, I must say, but no public members? You're not public? Why are you trying to hide it? There it is. Creator and maintainer. Look at all those commits though. I guess some of them are merge pull requests, but so do you work for Tailwind Labs? Or are you like a contractor for them, Robin? How does it work? Did you build it and then they acquired it, or? But Tailwind's, yeah, putting stuff out all the time these days. Blowing up, they're blowing up. And you know what's funny? So I remember I used to work at a company. And the company, I tried to convince them to use some, utility classes for some simple things like spacing. And they got so mad in my PR, they rejected it. They were like, we had a talk that we were not going this route and not using utility classes. And I'm like, if we just made a utility class and across these multiple things that I used it here, instead I went and added the code back into each different style like they wanted. And it added like another 30 lines of CSS code that we now have to maintain in different places. And I was being so bummed about it, but so Robin joined Tailwind Labs in spirit, and when he joined, he started on headless UI. But you're a contractor and you invoice them because you can't work for them as an actual employee. Sure, because they're still pretty small. They don't have health insurance and stuff set up yet, right? But That's cool. It seems like a cool team to be on, and some fun things to build. For sure. For sure. Oh, the issue is more of a location thing. Yeah, they'd have to have a presence in Europe then. Yeah, that makes sense. That's still kind of like a... what's it called? Healthcare thing. In the US, it's like about healthcare, you know? Do I want to provide healthcare to them or not? Because it's a big cost to do that. And it treats the way you treat your employees is very different if they're full-time or contractor. So we're going to look at this locally, the manager. I don't know if Strappy does. That's why I need to do some deeper looking into Strappy to see if it what kind of customization it allows. I installed it once and I played with it, and I know that it got me like custom types. I could create a custom type and then create posts from those types. And it felt very customizable, but I didn't go the route of creating like endpoints like Express would have. So I didn't even look into something like auth either, and that's one of my concerns for the new one. Is like, I'll need auth to request resources. So, and I'll need like ACLs. I'll need, you know, different groups and stuff to allow the different content types. I don't know if I can do that in Strappy. I would assume so. But I could be wrong. So we'll look at media. I want to update the fields so they have, it has a label, and I'll add another one that's called like input label. Vimeo ID, and I'll just call this Vimeo link. I was gonna call like a hint thing, but I think that might be it, and I really just want this. And if there is no input label, I'll fall back to the regular label. There will be another one here though. YouTube ID, YouTube link. I could call it external link, but it's not that generic. I don't want it to be that generic, I mean. Okay, and this happens in my media model. There's a lot of refactoring I need to do, move things around in here too. I've just been kind of prototyping it as I go along and plan to refactor later on. So render the media type. When I want this, oh, maybe it wasn't in here. I think it's in media ID. Credit type. Media field. So I want to say, not input label. This is the other way. I just want that one. I want to edit it on, this is in the source control. Source control. Not that kind of source control though. It's my source component basically. And down here, instead of this, I want to do input label or label. And see how that looks. This thing doesn't auto reload very well. And it's got errors locally. It almost feels like I'm working in WordPress. It seems incredibly hard to get WordPress working locally versus deployed versus the different environments. Maybe not incredibly hard, but I'm not familiar with it. So I feel like there would be a big snag. That hurts. I'm sorry, Mr. Demon Wolf. It was definitely a jab at you. I'm glad you felt it. In a good way. Okay, so it's saying Vimeo ID there. And then on my local, the prod version. Yeah, I remember I've had some like random freelance requests to help fix things on WordPress sites, and it's always such a pain. Videos, this one. Yep, Vimeo link. Playlist URL. I've never set Storybook, or is Storybook, is that really Storybook, is that really a thing? Yeah, Strappy is free if you self-host it, which is nice too. Was that all that there was in this task? I think so. I mean, it was really small to finish it off there. I'm gonna drop all the colons because I don't have them on the other fields. Do they have them anywhere else? No. So it happens there, there, and there. There we go. Story block. Let's check it out. You said this one paid, kind of. They probably got some limitations. So I looked at several headless CMSs, like Tina CMS looked kind of cool. It was similar to this. You just have some code and then you can click an edit link and then it pops out this little side panel for you. I haven't looked at this one, but there's so many different tools out there now, you know? It's hard to pick. Technology. Build pipeline, technology hosting. And it's done. The first things I always want to know about these is like, do I host it myself? Are they hosting it? If they're hosting it, it's probably paid. If I host it myself, that's cool. How customizable is it, I guess? Like, can I do custom stuff? Is there anything about this that kind of stands out from different stuff? Component-based headless CMS. So you pick like a content block kind of thing, and then that has different types. Yeah, I mean, it looks like another good solution too. All systems operational. Let's see what they're pricing. Free with 1 seat, so 1 content publisher, right? Image optimizing service, that's really nice. Like, that's a nice feature that I don't want to build myself. Fair use traffic? What the hell is that? The other thing I look at usually is like, if I'm gonna host 1 project on here, or like per project, are they charging me per project? Because a lot of times I have some really small projects I want to get up and running, right? And then the paid options are just like, it's another $7. It's another $7 a month, where it's like, I don't even want to pay that. Not free, but free. Yeah. And everything's a service model these days. The new trend feels like build an open source framework that you manage and then charge for the platform, right? And it's kind of annoying because there's so many of them. They're all very similar and you're all like locked into them no matter what you pick. So it's hard to know who's gonna keep growing and who's gonna get bought out in a couple years and then make you change or something. It's pretty. That's why I'm building it myself for now, and I'm building it with these JSON files because I hope someday that I could, if I need to, you know, I could import data into a new system if I wanted to. So let's call it for that feature. Get st, get add, get st, get ci, support input label on source. I don't need to push that up just yet. And then let's start on the add show in timeline. This one should be pretty easy too. So to add another field, all we have to do is go to our media type config. No, our admin config. Our admin config, go to the media, these orders are a little weird, but I'll add a new one at the bottom. I'll call it show in timeline, and this is Boolean, I think. Oh, sorry. Show in timeline is the name, and then I think this is a Boolean. And let's see it. Reload. Cancel. Close. Loading entry. I still don't know why this takes so long to load. It's kind of annoying. Ooh. Wait for it. I can't even see the frickin' box. There it is down there though. Did you see it? But I could turn it on. I could default it to true, but I'd rather not. I'd rather opt into it. So none of my data sources have that right now. I'm gonna add them manually. It'll go in here. Not L. And it will go in here. And it will go in here. It is in all of my videos so far, but npm run pre-build. This is what builds all of those into a single file, single JSON files. Currently I am loading it all. Let me actually, just to test, let's say this one, no, let's say the teaser is either missing it or it's false. Let's say it's missing it first. And let me rebuild that. And then in our timeline page, we'll update our query, entry date, and entry.show in timeline. And this should now not have that other one. So it's gone now, but it's still in our videos. All of the videos. Cool. So it's working. But I do want to show that in the timeline. And that's it for the show and timeline. Only 45 minutes in, y'all. Git add, git CI, show in timeline field. Let's push that up. It will do the rebuild, and then we can see it in our admin interface. You setting up the Strappy Demon Wolf? See what it looks like? So we've created our source widget. We added that. Credits widget auto sorting. So the other thing that I wanted to look at solving was a video like this is gonna start having a lot of people in it. There's 19 segments. Almost each one of them is a new person. So there's gonna be a lot of skateboarders, a lot of credits on this. And originally I just put it out like this, you know, but I kind of like to have either it listed by person or listed by title, and then grouping them in that way, right? So either I'll show one person and then all their credits, or one credit and then all the people who had that credit. Right now I'm leaning toward one credit and then all the people who had that credit. And I also want to be able to show the order of this, because I want like director to be first, and then I want to be like videographer, and then skateboarder. So let's just check this real quick and see if it worked. Reload. Cancel. There's our show on timeline down below. Okay, so we have that. It tries to do this thing where it's like, hey, you've made some changes. Do you want to leave the site? But even though if I didn't have changes. Oh, there's also a bug in the credit that I need to fix as well, and that's more important. That is more important, people. So let's call it for that task. Task end, task add, bug credits with empty values. And I'll start that. So let me show you what this is. What is happening? Don't use the backup. Let's take a hydrate break. And a drop break. Another hydrate break, I'm still thirsty. Sorry, pounded it on there. So the problem I'm having, let's see if I'm still logging some stuff out. Apparently there's also some errors that I can fix. Let's look at those. In my preview, close out all those files. I think that's the credits preview. It's not happy with the actual I didn't know I had to write them like that still. Let's see. That means I would all, no, I don't have it there, okay. There was another error about preview key here. I'll just do the I, because I could have multiple credits. And I need to import that. Oh, I already have it. Hey Magnetic, how's it going? Oops. Welcome back, welcome back. So hopefully that should clear out all the bugs, or all the errors in the console. Besides the main one, of course. The other split error that I keep getting. So I want to log out in the on change. I don't actually need this anymore. A lot of this commented out code was kind of stuff from the documentation that when I was still building it, I didn't know what I was doing, so I left it. Okay, let's console log that out so we can see it change. So you'll see it comes back with the value of type photographer. The problem is if I try to set it back, it's still an array of an empty type. So I want to clear it out, like if they accidentally added it back, you know? But I'm wondering, but if I do something like updated credit values. If I do something to say if there is no value, it might not update and show it. That's fine. I think I don't want to add it to the updated credit values until you have both of them. So let's do a filter on the end of it. Credit value. And if there is no credit value dot type and no credit value dot value, I don't know what it's called. I want this one, basically. No, because one of them is a type and one of them is type and person. I want to say it has a type and it has a person. Let's try that. Because I had it, it did that and I saved it, and then my build failed because it didn't have all the data it needed. So that's some validation issues on my part. So director, notice how it's still 0. Oh no, it broke it. Yeah, totally broke it. Totally broke it. So maybe I'll need to store some kind of internal state. This makes it so much more complex, right? So, ooh, let's sit back and think on it. Uh-oh, cat's up on the computer desk. Hold on. It's leaking on me. So my cat hates this water bottle. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. Thank you. A little while ago, I had a plant on my desk, and she got up behind my computer to sit there and, you know, get my attention. And she knocked the plant off the desk, and it all fell out. And I had to replant the whole thing. It was so frustrating. So now I just spray her whenever she gets up there, and it fixes the problem. Okay. So back to the task at hand. Task at hand. So the problem is when I change it, it goes through the whole data loop of it calls the onChange then sets it at the state at the higher level, and then it passes it back down. If I remove it because it's not fully complete yet, then it has the issue where I can't complete it, because after the first one, it goes and it's like, oh, this is not incomplete, I'm gonna remove it. So then it calls change without the new data and basically erases it. So this is a common problem you run into in React when you have a controlled input, they call it. You're controlling the whole value of it. Like, because we're passing down the value, whatever you pass down, I have to set it to keep it in sync. And every time you change it, I'm changing the value. So that's, the whole thing is in control. So I need to control the whole thing now, meaning I need to have some kind of internal state to allow the temporary changes. And then once I have valid data, then call the onChange. So let's do that, shall we? The problem is I have this thing right here. It's looking at the props.value. I want to create a state value that is like local value, maybe? And then the places where I call this get current credits will need to be updated to like the state value. So when I render this row, ooh, I spilled some water right near the edge of my keyboard. Where am I using this? In the change, handle change for index. So instead of this dot get current ones, I want state dot, what did I call it? Local value. The local value is the credit values. And then the updated ones, it'll do all that. And then I'll just say if updated credit values dot length. But how do I know if they're different? I guess that might be fine. Let's see if length is different than this dot get current credits dot length. So if you've added or removed one, then call it with a new value. Strappy's not bad so far. Yeah. Does it have all the things that you look for in a CMS? This widget right here is our Credits widget. So you select like the type. Oh, sorry. I'm in the progress of changing things, so that's why it's busted, but I'll show you. But basically you would select a credit type, and then the credit person it belongs to, and then it'll automatically add a new row, and you can keep adding them. So let me fix it so you can kind of see how it works. But the issue now is that I am not setting it when I get the value. Whenever, so component did update. Is it pre-props and next props, or is it the other way? I forgot. I'll have to see. But we're basically going to want to set local value. I haven't written classes in a while, and this one's still a class, which is interesting. So the local value will be this.set state. This is just going to be a little shorthand, so I can basically say this dot set local value to next props. We'll look at that to double check. Component did mount. Set local value to, this is this dot get current credits. Let's look up component did update, like the good old days. Hey TrueSet, thanks for the follow. Take me to your component did update. I hate how these links don't frickin' work in here. Don't they know that by now? There it goes. There it goes. Maybe they do work. They just take a while. Oh, pre-props. Previous state. Oh, okay. I don't need the previous props. I could probably just do this. And if I could just do that, then I could theoretically just say refresh the local one. But let's just start with that. Repeatedly calls set state. Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll do another wraparound. We'll say if pre-props dot, actually, it's that one, because we need to parse and unparse it. So if credit values dot length does not equal the I wonder if the pre-props will break. Pre-props dot value dot length. And now I can just call this credit values. Let's try that. Yeah, I thought that would happen. Mr. Demon Wolf, thank you for the hydrate. Ah, that's fresh. Is there just not a value? Let's try that. Okay. So if I do director, no, still bucket, still busted. Bucket. Did I update my change fully? So I want to say this length. Let me see. Current values. And let me log that too, just to see how it looks. Let me refresh, because I don't know. I felt like that should have done something different, but I could have been wrong. Could have been wrong. Cheer up. Cheer up. Of control? Which control? Source control? We should have a key on them, which is media type. And this one should probably have one too, which is source.type. And this one should have it too, which is field.name. Okay, that was unrelated. So if I pick director, the current values. Okay. So if it's not the same, is greater than 0, and because I forgot to have that empty one in there, see if that fixes anything. Wondering how that will behave, because I start with that empty one, but when I add a first one, it will be the same length. So let's see. If index is greater than the credit value's length minus 1, add a new credit value. Function components cannot be given refs. So that's an issue, because this other source one, I turned it into a functional component, and that's what it's complaining about. So, director, okay, it stayed there. Andrew. Well, I changed it, but it didn't update it. That's because there's already one value. So I should, because this one I want to bring down, I want to filter where it's an empty object. Credit value dot type. I'll leave that. So it has to have a type at least. I think that should fix it. It feels a little wonky, the whole thing, but that's always what ends up happening when I hear that dog barking. Going to put the CMS to the side and build out the Tailwind using the Tailwind UI kit. Oh, awesome, Mr. Demon Wolf. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I do, you know, I kind of miss this stuff. When I first started coding, I did a lot of marketing websites and pure, like, visual UI stuff, and I like it. You know, but it doesn't pay as well as software development. So I got sucked into the pay, stuck with that, and I've learned a lot of things, but now a lot of my personal projects are gearing back towards that side. So I figured I'd still stream it, even though it's not necessarily what I do for work all day. Create a new item if needed. Let me move this up there. Ah, I forgot I did that so I can do current values. And it's not this dot, it's just current values dot length. So the current values are getting the current credits, filtering it down to any value that has a type. Maybe I should do this after. Create a new item if needed. So if the index is greater than the values, oh, well, because I'm adding that one on there and then I'm filtering them out. Let me move this down a little bit. So I'll say these are the updated credit values. Oops. So if there's more than one, let's try that. I think that could work. Let's clear it all out, start over, reload. I'm wondering if it'll break it at the beginning. It won't have an extra item in there. Loading. It's drop time. Director. 0, 0. That's right. That should be 1, 0. Oops, something broke there. Oh, I need to update the local state. So this is a little confusing because I'm about ready. Okay. So when I start, the local values are 2 items, or is it? I think it's because I render, yeah. Render input row. There's an extra row that's always on there. And maybe this shouldn't be pointing to that. That should be pointing to state.value. Oh no, local value. That's for sure. Does that change anything? I think I need, whenever I change the index, I need to also update the local. I'll say else this.set local value to be updated credit values. So I'm either gonna, oops, sorry about that. I'm either going to be sending the change up and then it's gonna re-render, come back down, or I'm just gonna set it locally. Drop. I'm thinking I don't need this thing in here now. Let's try taking that out again and leaving this back up here because, well, no, this should be before it. If the index so if I'm saying like 0, the index I'm changing is 0. If 0 is greater than the length of the values minus 1. I don't know. I can't even think through it right now. Let's refresh. Drop. Cancel. close. Oh, the new drop didn't work. Drop. Must have already done the last one. Did I take off the things? Yep, I did. Cool. Credit values.map is not a function. Where was I doing that? Right here. I'm gonna change this to updated local values. Wait. Oh, this should be local values. What the hell did I do? There we go. Okay. I might not need this. I think that issue is just because I started out with an empty one, and then when I created a first one, there should still be an extra one though. So let's delete that. We'll start with the current values. I'll take the local values, we'll go over all of them, update them, and then if it doesn't have I basically want it to be an empty object or a full object. So it's got to be that. It's got to have both, or JSON.stringify credit value. This is how the cheap way of me checking to see if something is an empty object without the Lodash tool. Or it's an empty object. So it's either an empty object or it has both of the properties, which is fine. And if the index, then push another one on. And then if the lengths are not the same, send it up. Otherwise, just set it local. Let's try that. Well, that might not work because then if I have it, I don't want to set it. I think I want to do this separate actually. So let's say const validated local values equals updated local values dot filter. This feels messy. So I would expect the validated to be different in the sense that it has to have the full value. So let's leave that out for now and come back to that. So if the validated local values is not equal to the current values, then I want to update it. Otherwise, it's just the updated values. Let's try that. Because the updated values could have in progress values. Well, the validated doesn't. Local values needs to be updated to default state. I made it that it should be an empty object with an empty array. That's probably why I was erroring with that first. The credits.map is not a thing. Okay, drop. You want to hear some? Credit values.map is not a function. Hopefully this should fix it. Is it gonna load or yeah, it's just slow. Waiting. Okay. That was boring. Director. Okay, so validated doesn't have any, but the updated does. Current value, which means like the whole form, is still just an empty array. Maybe that shouldn't be. I shouldn't allow empty arrays in there, huh? In the current values. So the updated local values has the type director. The validated should have a value in there now. Yeah, and then it breaks on the next one, okay. So something is wrong still. Let's see, get current credits. I want to start with the value, or yeah, the empty one. Validated local values. I mean, so I don't want we're gonna want to bring this back, and I think I will want to do it earlier. What was it? So let's say the index is 1. Greater than 1 minus 1. You hear that dog barking? It's a nice color in here. I think I do want this after. I mean, I could put it after the validated ones too. So, handle change for index. I can't change a local value unless the first time I'm changing it, 0 is greater than 0 because it has one item in it. Then push a new one on there. If I'm changing like the 1 is greater than 0, then I want to push a new row on there, which is correct. Current values. I do want to filter this one down to JSON.stringify credit value does not equal an empty object. I want to see all the real current values. Okay, did that help at all? Let's see. It's starting with one row. Which is okay, I might be able to fix that. It's probably better. I don't know why I had 2 rows. It was just to imply that, hey, you can have more than one. But I don't think I needed them per se. I only need a new row when you've started filling out. Not even when you started, when you've completed one full row, then I need to add a new row. Thanks for the follow, Howl55. There we go. So the validated, that should update. Well, then it busted. That's weird. I think that could be because the current value did update correctly, and then I go and rewrite it again. So let's see, set local value. I'm going to say local value dot concat an empty object. and then in my get current, I'm going to drop that off. Because now when I set it, it's going to start with an empty array and then automatically add one each time I set the local value. And I might not want to add a new one though. I just want to add one if there are none. No, and the last one is not an empty value. Right? Otherwise I'll just keep adding new values every time I update that logo value. Well, well, well. The current values should never have an empty object in it. The local values should. The local values can. Current credits. I don't necessarily want to do that then. Or if I do want to do it, yeah, I think I should do it in here. So let's see. If value dot length, oh no wait, value dot filter and now I want to JSON stringify object filter it down to everything that is, whoa, not that. And then I'll tack one on. And then that can eliminate the need for this. Let's try that. Scratchy. Okay, reload. It's always weird that like the things that I plan don't take that long and then I throw in some other bug and it takes forever. To be fair, I do usually prep a little bit ahead. Like I kind of look and get a plan of what I want to do, so I'm not doing this the whole time. Debugging something, right? But there's value in the debugging. Like we get to play the drop game when we're waiting for everything to load again, you know? Okay, director. That shouldn't have happened. But our validated values are correct, and our updated values seem to be correct. I'm gonna brakes. What did I do? Is it just because I do that? I'll say saving validated and saving locally. So maybe I oh. I think it could be. Excellent. No, I don't use that on my local projects. I don't have time to fix those things. That is not fun. That is not fun, man. Let me take out this one because I think that could be causing some issues. I could be wrong, but I could be right. Okay, clear. Refresh. Reload. It's Nuxty. Does Nuxt has ESLint by default? That's why I use Next.js apps, because they don't have that by default, which I like. You can pick to use. Okay, that's nice. I do kind of wish that I could pick it in Next. Can you pick TypeScript yet? I don't know. I don't think you can. Director. Yeah, saving locally, saving validated. Director. Okay, so it's just once I get to the... Oh, because it saves the validated again the second time and it erases my value. But it shouldn't save the validated the second time. It saved the local. Current values is 1. And that's weird that the updated local values are, it changed it for both of them. I'm starting to feel like there's only several songs in this playlist. I might have disliked all the rest of them, but okay, so I kind of am confused there. So I updated it, it saved locally. I updated it again, it saved the validated one, and it had the extra row. So that everything was right. Then when I went to go change it after, 0 and 1 are the index numbers. It's actually an array. They're acting as the keys. But it's an array. This is JavaScript, which you can also have objects with keys of 0, which is a little confusing, but this is an array, so it's just showing it like 0 index at 1, etc. What is there? If you do an object with index numbers, you won't have this length property because it's not an actual array. So what would cause that to change? Okay, so get current credits. Explain this in 1 to 2 sentences. Oh yeah. So really what you need to know is, that's not the first sentence. I guess it could be the first sentence. This is referring to the current context. The hard part about this is understanding what the context is, because it's dynamic. It changes just like a variable would. So when you're in like the main global scope, the context is window. But with all these arrow functions, the context is referring to different things. It's passing in the context, passing it down. So what you really need to do is learn what this means in the different contexts. In React with classes, this is usually referring to the class, meaning the instance of this class. There's some cases where I don't have, I have just a normal method like this. And then there is these ones where I have it like equal to a fat arrow function. And that sets it so I can use this inside of it. Because if I don't do that, this is automatically set to a different context. So it's a little bit of a black box. You have to understand it in different scenarios. Like jQuery sometimes set this to the current object or the current element that you're looking at. So if you're not doing React classes and you're doing React with hooks, you don't need to worry about this. You're not really using it. Part of that is to avoid using this. That's what people get confused about. Ideally, just don't use it unless the framework says to. Otherwise, whenever you want to know what it is, just console log it out. I'll show you here. When I this is gonna do, let me put it in a different one. I'll do it in the set local value. Yeah, React, so the React with hooks doesn't use this anymore because we're not using classes. But you'll see here it logged out this, and it's referring to the control. The reason it's referring to the control because my class name is control. And so this is all the items on there. You can see it will match like this, the static default props, the state, component did mount, component did update, set local value, set has focus. These are all on here. Set has focus, set local values, state. State is just an object. There's some other things you get from React, like props on the component come in there. Handle change is mine, this is mine. Context is a React thing. So it's referring to instances. I don't really use this too much unless I'm working in some older code that relied on it a lot more. Newer libraries and frameworks have tended to abstract it away because a lot of people are confused by it because the value changes underneath you. Cool. Glad that helped. But yeah, there really is a lot to it. Just log it out to figure out what it's pointing to. That's what I do. I just want to know what the current value is and what's available. You tell me. That's what you really care about. So, if props.value and props.value.length is not equal to, I guess I could say if it's greater than. But is there a case where I delete things? I don't have that. I don't know. I don't think that's part of the problem, though. Let me try it again to remember where we're at. So that updated. See how we have the new data over here? And then I go back and I try to change it. And it works? What did I do? It's working. Is it just because I picked the same one? No. Okay, now I'm starting to think my code just didn't refresh correctly. I don't know if I changed anything. Drop. Pew. I mean, I changed this value. I console logged this, but that was it. As long as it's working, I'll take it. I don't care. Alec? Okay, so it's just when I did that director again. That's weird. Shit's real whack. I don't get it. It was working the last time, right? So let's do this. Let's bring this back. I think what this was doing was it's saying if the index is greater than the local values index, create a new item. This should be spread like that. Because we are modifying the index of a newer item, and that was because of this down here. And then that eliminates the need for me to do this whole concatenating bit. And just set it. Because it'll come here if it's trying to change the index for one that is greater than what's currently in the array. It'll push a new item so we can change it down here. Okay, let's try that. Looked like it fixed it. Oops, I wanted to reload fresh though. Hydrate. Don't load that back up. I don't want that back up. Have y'all seen my Westboss JavaScript mousepad? Pretty cool, huh? Ah, smells like fresh neoprene or something. Okay, director, photographer. Bah! What are you doing? So it saved locally, and then the second time it saved the validated. Oh, and then it overwrites the validated. Okay. But I don't see why the validated is different. The current values. Oh, validated is not. See, it's changing this. How did it? let's do a console log and let's say reload. Got food on me. Sleepy song came on. Drop. So I changed that one. Handle change for index 0. And then handle change for index 1. That's right. So the validated local values, they're getting set to 0. And I didn't, because this is, it's updating both of them, which is weird. Handle change for index 1. So it should push on a new value, and it does. It feels like this is not working correctly. So if the I index but in this case, it would have been 1. Let's try that. Just logging out some more crap. I'm not even watching the drops to see if I landed in the pool. Could've got 100. Wouldn't have known. I'm so cool. Let's watch it this time. Bloop. Okay, director. Handle change for, so the local value should have been, yeah, that's right. Saving validated. So my local values got messed up after the validated save. component did update. Credit values. Do some more logging. An hour and 16 minutes on this bug? Wow. This is why I like to review them first, you know? Do this off stream, but whatever. Previous is undefined. Previous is always undefined. Why is that? It's not updating the local value, basically. Load it. Previous prompts. Are these really all the prompts that they give me? I mean, it updated there. It's not giving me the previous prompts correctly. Don't really know why. Maybe I don't need this. I need the initial one in case there's data. component did update is not working correctly. That's weird. Loading, loading. Okay. Handle change for index. Yeah. Still having problems with the validated values. Maybe I shouldn't even care. I should just set them both. Well, I'm not. Yeah, it didn't. So in this case, I want to always save it locally. With the updated local values. Because I want to say if those are different, then update the change, and I don't need the saving locally every time. I will know it's going to do that, or believe it, trust it. Okay, let's fresh. Reload. Get that serious song going. Kind of annoying that error thing just sits there. Is that, I think that's actually a Netlify CMS thing, or is that a Next.js thing? I can't remember. Saving validated. Photographer. Okay, saving validated. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, people. Okay, so now if I delete one, what happens? It updates it correctly. There shouldn't be an extra one in there. Let's see. Current values, there's only 3. But it doesn't delete the row. I'm not going to save it if you don't have them all filled out. I won't tell you that. You can see it over here, but... Let's delete this. Don't need that anymore. I need to confirm, does it load it correctly if I have values there? I deleted it there. And let's see, so dot filter this is gonna be I want to filter out anything that's, if it's an empty object and it's not the last one. So we'll say if I is equal to, oh, it's not updated local value. Yeah, updated local values length -1. If it's not the last one and the JSON.stringify credit value and it's an empty object. Oh, and it's not so if it's not the last one, and it's not an empty object, I think that would take out the last one though. No, because it would be false. Oh, true. If it's not the last one. Which is true, and I'm doing it the opposite because I want to say keep it if it's the last one and an empty object. I'm going to do a wraparound and say the opposite here. So if it's not the last one and it's an empty object, don't include it. Because if it's not the last one, or if it is the last one, this will be false. And true. I think that will still filter out the last one, right? Let's say, so if it's an empty object, rearranging them for clarity. I can't think clear today. So if it's an empty object and the index is not, that would be true, I want to do the opposite. So that would filter it out. But like, let's say it's the last one. It's an empty object and false. Because it is the last one, so then it'll be true. So that's right. I think. Cancel. Oops. Oh, sorry, I want to reload. I don't want to use it. We are 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and I've spent an hour and a half on this bug. The other stuff was easy. Life was so easy before this bug. I've missed the whole sunset. I can have the same ones, doesn't matter. So if I do that, it didn't remove it. Let me see, what is the... Oh, it's because they're not an empty object. It's because they have strings. So this should be not this, but it should be if credit value type is an empty string and the credit value person is an empty string, then don't include it. It's weird how that one is like a Chrome pop-up, and then this one is like a drop-down one. I wonder if you can customize like the pop-up like that, and they're doing that. Okay. There we go, that's what I want. Just change one of them, that's okay. And I can fill out as many of these as I want. But unless they're both filled out, I'm not going to save them. I think that's it. Nice. Let me delete these. Oh, let me just actually check also that it loads correctly with some people in it by default values. I mean, reload. Thanks for the follow, Cactus Cracker. Sounds delicious. Hydrate, and thank you for the hydrate. Ah, that's good, that's good. Hey, how's it going? Yep, it preloaded them. Can I add a new one? Yep. Can I delete an old one? Yep. Ideally, I would have like a little thing next to it to delete it. That's another feature request for myself. I'd also like to, what's it called? Sort these. But we can add those later because I don't need them right now. Let's keep that commented out. Okay. Let's see, what did we actually change? Did I leave any console logs in? The local value starts with an empty. Component did mount, we updated the set, we deleted the whole component did update because that was causing problems. I didn't know I committed that already. I thought I just knew that was new, but the local value updated some of the namings and the changing for index. And added the filter out, added the validated. I do need to get rid of that console log. And there is the saving validated one too. Remove the default for the current credits. And there was one, just change the credit values to pull from the local down there. Okay, okay. Oh, this should be gone, that's fine. A new code that I just commented out. So we'll delete this one, and we'll delete this one. I think that should be it. Refresh just to double check. Drop. Drop it. Close out some tabs. See, you're regretting it now, aren't you? That ESLint, man, is so bad. For work, I get it. You know, you're working with a team, whatever, that's great. But I don't want to do it to myself. Ooh, look at that. Landed right on top of me. Beat me out. Okay, no stupid logs. I wonder what happens if I... Oh no. Interesting. Oh. Is that... All right, I gotta check that. Sorry. I want to see the current value. Oh, yeah. Current values, validated local values, and the updated local values. So I added them and then I deleted it, but if it's the last one in there, it didn't do anything. That one. It's just because the type is empty. Once I change this and then set it back, it deletes it. Okay, so that's just another filter check. We gonna get fancy with it. So if that, actually I want parentheses. If that or credit type value and there is no credit person, or there is no credit type of value and person is empty. I think that's right. It feels janky because maybe I should do something up here. Credit value people matter. What's that mean? What does that mean? Maybe I should do a thing here to say like if the value equals an empty string, then use undefined. Otherwise use the value. Because then it would set it, so if I set it back to empty, it would set it back to undefined. So then I can just say if there's no credit and no type, or no type and no person. I'm going to comment this out just to save it, but if I'm going to say if there is no type oh no, because then it's going back to checking like a nested ternary. I don't do them too often, but I do them once in a while. I did one recently for a component switching between a link and a button, like it was a reusable component, and if you passed in a link to, it would use a link, and if you passed in an on-click, it would use a button. But then also inside the link, if the link was internal, it would use the link component. If it was external, it would use the A tag. So it had that 2 levels in it. And it wasn't too bad, it was pretty readable. You can do it all the time, but I mean, if you can avoid it, it might be nice. Let's just go back to this, because it was working. I don't need to worry about it. If I want to refactor it later, I can. Reload. An hour and 46 minutes on this. That's life. That is life. Okay. I did it kind of wrong. I meant to do this and then do this, and then that. There we go. And then do this, and then do that. Oh, didn't work there. It's because there's a person. There's no... Oh, forgot to fix that one. Oh my god, it works! I know, can you believe this? Cancel, clear, close. Drop. 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 84. I've gotten the 80s a couple times today, actually. I think. Okay. The director. Coming in hot. There it is. Just trying weird stuff now because I haven't. All right, that's it. Life is good. It's working. Those aren't console errors, dude. That's one error, and that is definitely my fault. But those were logs, so I could track things, which we are now ready to remove. Okay, let's commit it. It feels real dirty, especially doing this. I could refactor it to do this, but I don't want to work on it anymore. I'm tired of this. I'll probably do that later. Git push. Cool. And after 149 minutes, not 100, 1 hour and 49 minutes. And this is the start of the end. Let's give it a minute, and then we'll load it up. While I look for someone to raid. Whoa. Bash, Mewtwo's on? Are they playing video games? Late Night Apex. Among only devs? Oh, only devs. Among me? Is that what that is? Yep. That's cool. That's cool. Do you want to go watch some games? Or we can go hang out with Griffin and chill? Uh-oh. Computer just froze. Let's see what Griffin and Chill's up to. Or not Griffin and Chill, but just regular Griffin. I've got enough points to get him to take his beanie off. That's 150,000 channel points. But I've already seen it, so I'm not gonna do it. Let's go hang out with him. Friday nights he'll do a little more coding. He's probably almost done with coding, and then he's gonna go into gaming. But I haven't rated him in a while. Oh, Mountain Trash Panda, you're just in time for me to finish. But hey, welcome. You want to do a drop real quick? Everybody drop. Let's drop for the end of it. So we finished the things that I already checked off. But we worked on that. Let's go to the ending screen. We worked on the admin UI, create source. We finished off that. That one's done for now. It seems to be working well. The add show in timeline, that was a quick and easy one too. And then the bug with the credits, the empty values, that was a big problem. Big problem, but we finished it off. We got it done. There's still some more that refactoring that I could do there, I'm sure. So the next thing that I'll probably want to work on is, well, I've got other things. I don't know what the next stream will be, but I'm going to be working on getting some content in there too, and maybe some more changes to the credit widget, but I'll be back on Tuesday for that one. So I will see you then. All right. Let's head over to CM Griffing. I will see you there. Bye, y'all.